It's the Friday morning before Queen's birthday weekend, and students from all over New Zealand are arriving in Wellington to perform scenes written by Shakespeare over 400 years ago. The excitement in the Michael Fowler Centre and St James Theatre over the weekend is just electric. The Shakespeare Globe Centre New Zealand University of Otago Sheila Wynne Shakespeare Festival has been going for 25 years, and over 5,000 young people participate every year.
The festivals began in 1992, only a few months after I founded Shakespeare Globe Centre New Zealand. The first year, when there were only 7 regions and 100 students, there was a lot of much more staged, standing around type of performance. So now we're seeing fully fledged productions, 5 minutes and 15 minutes, and they are really, really well contrived, well thought through, no stumbling of lines. And that's actually a huge development over the years from the very first ones.
This year, alongside the performers is a team of enthusiastic young filmmakers joining the festival to document the journey. The Shakespeare in Motion project has brought together young people from all over the country. We have grabbed our cameras, editing gear and director's caps and together created this documentary.
So I'm Maddie Brooks Gillespie, and I have project managed the Shakespeare in Motion project. I've always wanted to make a documentary about the festivals and that process. So I was like, we should make a documentary.
Shakespeare is no longer compulsory in New Zealand schools, and yet the Shakespeare Festival is one of New Zealand's biggest youth festivals. So, why do people keep engaging with Shakespeare? What is it about his plays that still captures today's imagination? And are his plays still relevant to young people today?
Is that even a question? Everyone enjoys Shakespeare.
On the most obvious level, Shakespeare wrote these plays to entertain, and they have kept entertaining people for over 400 years.
How he writes it is just, even like back then, like the sort of like banter they had between each other and taking jokes out of different words and how you interpret different words, it's still relevant today.
Yeah, some fun innuendos in there, which are still pretty common in today's society, and they're pretty clever, even though they still resonate with audiences today, which is pretty mind-blowing.
And I think I definitely connected with Shakespeare's comedy, and I've been studying King Lear this year in my English class, and although it's a tragedy, there's a lot of small bits of comedy, and I've learned to appreciate that from Shakespeare. Humour is the same across time.
Once you like see it yourself, you get to read it over and you learn a part of it. It's a completely different thing to where, like before I thought like Shakespeare was like boring, but now I just like really enjoy it. It's got like a thing that just grabs you.
I think the most important thing with Shakespeare is that although it's got all these themes and ideas and all this study you can do, it originally entertained an audience, and that's really what I wanted to do with my piece.
But on a deeper level, they're about emotions that we all feel at one time or another, and situations that we can all relate to.
In A Midsummer Night's Dream, there's quite a lot of tension, if you know what I mean, between lovers and things, and unrequited love and requited love and just mistiming and everything, and that still happens today, and it still inspires a lot of, creativity over that.
Yeah, there's so much throughout Shakespeare. There's just key ideas of like humanity and being alive and stuff about death and love and that kind of stuff, and so it's just very easy to kind of, when you really break it down, it's like, yes, I can connect to this, and maybe it's not on such an extreme level, but there's definitely some part of me that has experienced this, so I can use that and I can make it my own and how I perform it.
Identity is such an important theme in Shakespeare's plays, and something that young people are forever exploring.
I definitely always get the roles that are very out there and feisty. I've never had like the damsel in distress.
I'm trying to get you to fight for your shitty life. You're gonna just punch you in the ass. I'm your shitty life,
I love it. I feel like if I were to play Juliet, it'd be a bit boring, and I feel like I'd be restricted or something.
I think my favourite would have to be probably Hamlet. I just love the
the way that the story goes, like the characterization of Hamlet, the way that he develops, it really interested me. Well, I think they're all really relatable in their own reasons. Obviously, with Hamlet and Titus, both of them go a little bit mad, but I think in the sense that they are strong, confident people, and that way I feel that I really do relate to them.
When it came down to Beatrice, I think that I really was I could really get into the character because I could really relate to how she was feeling. Like she'd always be couldn't interpret herself, the blur between the lines of where she was rude or where she was being friendly but in a mean way. And I think that represents me a lot.
Definitely made a connection with Dogberry from Butcher 2. Because it's just that whole scene we did was just him going on his massive rant, and I just thought, this dude, I will remember you.
The morals of all the Shakespeare plays, like Romeo and Juliet, those directly affect us because we're both teenagers and we're both losty little hicks.
I identified with Benedict, how he was quite naive and he couldn't make up his mind, he was a bit foolish at times. And I think that's where I felt a connection with Benedict.
There is an opportunity with Shakespeare for people to explore what it might be like for someone of another gender or cultural background.
I mean, definitely the gender neutrality of the roles. That was a process that we had to go through. Yeah. It was really, really funny going from, this all girls boarding school, you had to be all ladylike and stuff, and then going down to the Performing Arts Centre, and suddenly you have to be this mean as army dude, and you have to go and beat people up and stuff.
When we first got given and talking about female characters, we were all told to go home and talk to females in our in our lives, and how their experiences were sexism and that sort of themes that were present.
There's a really interesting trend behind the scenes about how gender is played and which characters are of what gender, and I really enjoyed seeing that.
Well, I was playing two different women, and I was playing Bianca and the widow.
I would say be careful though. There were a couple of scenes where I thought that being a woman was the sort of front of the joke.
We tried to take a more mature approach rather than going with the usual wigs and tissue papers.
And I would say a blonde wig does not make someone a woman.
We tried not to stereotype too much, so it didn't make them it didn't make the portrayals a sort of laughing stock. There still was some seriousness behind them.
We did Romeo and Juliet and Tongan, bringing our own culture, and instead of doing what they usually do, sword fights, we did a war dance and our own culture.
Some schools in Tonga who have different views on things, they usually have fights in that.
Seen the boys represent our school up there. They did a pretty good job here.
I thought they were actually gonna fight, but they use our Tongan dancing as fighting. I think they did good. They did our school proud, and I'm proud of them.
It was pretty nerve-wracking watching ourselves, but I reckon we did pretty good.
Yeah, I reckon after watching that, felt quite proud and happy that we actually did really good, and proud of the group, and it paid off in the end.
Yeah.
People are always interpreting and reinterpreting Shakespeare, and these festivals are an amazing opportunity to see this firsthand.
For the first 2 years that I was doing Sheila, and I wasn't a big fan of changing the concepts. Like I was just like I was kind of a big traditionalist in the sense that like we have to keep it normal to pay respects to Shakespeare. But like now, I'm just kind of like, it's still paying respects to him because it's giving it a new lease of life in a way.
It gives you the opportunity to take Shakespeare, put a twist on it. I'm a big fan of the modern twist. I end up eating a lot of food on stage, and it's so wonderful to see people realising Shakespeare not just as something that happened 400 years ago.
This year, 70% of the performances at the National Festival were student-directed.
I think it shows them that they can sort of put their own twist on things, and I think it also helps them be able to communicate with people, because that's really important, because if you don't tell people what they need to do, exactly how they need to do it, something's going to go wrong, and it's just going to end up like a messy cesspool of weird Shakespeare language.
I think it's a lot more cool when you can like do it yourself. It's not as much stress, and you sort of can take it at your own pace, and you're not feel like you're up to someone else's expectations. You're up to how you want to do it and how you want to envision it.
Being a student director, it's hard to like draw the line between like trying to have fun and like make everyone really enjoy what they're doing, but also like push people to like really get to like where you want them to be.
I feel like with a student directed piece, even if you're not the director, you get a say in what happens.
Yeah.
If you want to do a play, you need to choose a scene that you enjoy doing and actually take a particular interest in. Otherwise, it's just very hard to find the right connection or know how to act it. So
the chance to be part of such a huge event as the SGC and the Shakespeare Festivals is an amazing opportunity for young people to connect with others their age and have a shared experience.
Really, when I was in India, we had in our syllabus 2 plays, The Merchant of Venice and As You Like It. We had to study that, and it was like 150 pages long, and everyone had to learn all the lines and themes and the motifs and all the similes, alliterations, all that behind that. So nobody really liked the way in which Shakespeare's language was, especially because he wrote in such old language with such hard words. And perhaps I was kind of isolated because of the way I was dealt with, in the sense that I was thought that I was the only one who liked Shakespeare, and liking Shakespeare was like not cool. So I really didn't know. After coming here, I realized that there are people who really like Shakespeare, and seeing all these people act and seeing all these people spend so much time interpreting and finding new ways in which they can make Shakespeare still relevant to the society, that's really good.
Yeah, before like I enjoyed Shakespeare, but like I didn't really get it as much. But like when you go to the festivals and like the national festivals, it's just like that step up and you're like, well, I really get it.
Yeah. It's like it brings a whole lot of different people together. Like some people you wouldn't usually talk to. You guys all like have a similar interest. Yeah. It's really interesting.
Yeah, well, some of us had never been to Wellington, and because some of us, for some of us it was the first time doing drama, ever. So yeah, it was amazing.
I was quite worried that it wouldn't be the best, it would be quite boring, but I found it really enjoyable and quite life-changing, really. Got a lot out of it.
I think I made lifelong friends for ever and ever. These guys are amazing, and yeah, it's great.
The things people take away from their festival experiences stay with them and sometimes inspire them in what to do next.
My name's Brendan West, formerly of Hamilton. Now I live in Wellington. I've been a tertiary teacher teaching theatre, English and screen and media, and I'm privately an armourer. We never had any other competitions when I was doing drama at school, and indeed I don't think they do anymore. It was a chance to network with other actors, a chance to strut your stuff, to be graded against people. It was also where I started doing both fight choreography and ultimately armouring, which is why I'm an armourer today. It was also the reason why I teach what I teach. So in many ways it's been the main reason I've continued in the career choices I have.
They go off and do other projects, or otherwise meet up as lawyers or doctors or politicians. We have a couple of them in Parliament at the moment who are our alumni. So, and they're proud of it. And even people like Lord and Kimbra, the singers, and Kawati Watford as an opera singer, and Madeleine Perrard. There is a sense of pride in having been involved.
Could Shakespeare have imagined that in 400 years' time, people would still be performing and enjoying his plays? Far from being forgotten, Shakespeare's plays have weaved their way into our very culture and language.
I think that Shakespeare is still relevant because we're coming together in this massive festival, and it's been translated into so many different languages all over the world. It's something so big that it brings the whole world together, and I reckon that's pretty cool.
He entertains us, he talks about human experience, tells timeless stories of human emotions that are still so relevant.
Yeah, Shakespeare, even though it was years and years ago, I think it still does relate to the world today.
But when you actually get to see it in real life, it really is something special that you don't really get often.
It really makes you realise that there are so many different ways of acting out just one piece of one of his plays. There's so many different ways you can act about to show different messages or show different ideas, and it's still it just connects you to Shakespeare as well, because see how smart he was in doing all these things, and it still makes it relevant today as well.
I think if you get underneath the language, Shakespearean language, a lot of the same stuff is there and very much relevant.
I think the themes he puts through his work just relate to everyday life. I don't think it matters what generation you're in.
Yeah, I mean his messages throughout heaps of his plays, they're still relevant to today. We can learn so much from all these soliloquies, and they're so important and still relevant because it's all about human nature and emotions, and that hasn't changed.
Shakespeare's plays speak about being human, and that allows people from all walks of life to use them in creating work that is relevant to them, incorporating different cultures, opinions and voices. Young people say that it is this humanity in Shakespeare that still makes his work so alive and such a powerful platform for young people to explore the brave new world that they are growing into.
Next week, we're going to give over the whole show, the whole 90 minutes, to a production, the first television production of Shakespeare's King Lear. And we've invited the young English director Peter Brook to come over and stage it, and he's working with Andy McCullough, our regular Umbector. Virgil Thompson has written music for it. Now, how would you like to sneak backstage and watch a look at this? Because Peter Brook has got them there now. Let's go in.
Saddle my horses. No problem. Yet have I left the daughter. Is it your will? Speak, sir. Prepare my horses! For Lord, I am guiltless as I am ignorant of what I told you. My trainer men of choice and rarest parts, and all particulars of duty know. Exact regard for the worship of their name.
Going right out up the ramp into the night. Now hold it a moment, Freddie. Now slowly down stage, and they come in through the door. Call him! Hold it! No, remember, I said it this morning, we're doing this quietly. Don't rush it, don't throw it away. Now once again, yes, come in, Fraser.